All right, welcome back to our weekly Transformations Facebook Live podcast. Today we have Joshua Camacho, our usual co-host.
Good morning, guys.
The infamous Joshua Camacho. I love this guy to death. And today we also have a special guest. Mayor Eddie Moran is joining us today to give a few words of encouragement. But before we get started, the usual information on the fentanyl testing kits. So we have the testers available if anybody wants them who are still struggling out there with their addiction. We will meet you where you're at. If you're currently using, we still don't want you to die, but we will be there to encourage you, help you along the way, give you fentanyl testers, give you Narcan. There's directions on how to use, how to test your drugs to make sure there's no fentanyl in there. There's directions in English and in Spanish. We give you 3 to 6 testers. That way you can utilize, and because we are aware that you guys use more than once a day, so we don't want you to die, and we're going to meet you where you're at and give you the information that you so rightfully deserve, so you can live another day and are able to, make that decision when you are currently ready. Am I lying? Because I don't see it.
You are. The beauties of being live. Yes, sir.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So, like I said, you can always reach out to me, 484-772-7079. You can email me at transformations, this is the wrong one I have on here. Transformations LC period 14 at gmail.com, or you can email Joshua Camacho, and he has his information when he comes right back here in a minute. I'm just trying to find my page. But anyways, so we have Eddie Moran here today, and I asked him to come on to give a few encouraging words to the people here in Reading. As everybody knows, he is running for office again, and he's going out getting petitions, signings, and all that. So I'm very honored to have him here on the podcast with us today, just due to the fact that he's a personal friend of mine, and then he's also got his own story. So I'm going to allow Eddie Moran to give some encouraging words to you all here today. He can translate it into Spanish if he wishes as well, because we do have a Spanish-speaking population out here that we're trying to address as well.
Sorry, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. So if anybody has any comments for myself, Joshua, or Eddie, you guys can just send a message right through the Facebook Live right now, and we'll help answer those questions. So, like I said, here's Eddie Moran. Welcome again. Josh, can you please give out your information?
Yeah, 484-926-8358 is the phone number. The email is transformationsjosh.23@gmail.com. And on Facebook, you can inbox me at Macho Camacho. I am going to also be in the inner cities of Reading next weekend, walking around and handing out these kits as well. So I'll post more information about where I'll be if you want to meet me out in the city next week, once I get the details in order.
And before Eddie gets started, I did want to mention that I have had a discussion with Franklin's Shakes and Burgers, and I will be having some of these kits set up at Franklin's Shakes and Burgers. Is that the name of it?
Yes.
Shakes and Burgers on Penn Street. So it's totally anonymous. There will be literature or places that you can get services provided to you. So all you have to do is ask Mr. Franklin or any of his staff at his organization on how you can get the stuff, because he's going to have it in his restaurant, okay? So now, with all due respect, let me introduce Mr. Eddie Moran. Thank you again. Welcome. Please give us a few kind words that you're going to encourage our community.
Well, thank you. First of all, good morning. Buenos dias a todos. It's an honor and privilege to be here, to say the least. As you stated, my name is Eddie Moran. I'm currently the mayor of the city of Reading, which I take much pride in. I want to thank you both for everything you do and for this amazing podcast, which I'll be quite honest with you, I wasn't aware of until, you and I meet often and chat. But then when you brought it to my attention, I was amazed the fact that this could happen today. Because, many years ago, this wasn't the case. Sobriety was a hidden gem. And I say a secret hidden gem because in many rooms they talk about anonymity and, how it was, very well kept secret, right? But we have to give it back, right? So with that said, I'm going to go right off the bat and share the fact that I'm about to share some things that I probably haven't shared openly to the public in the past. Not because I've been ashamed, because I am proud to be the person that I am today, but because I was taught about that anonymity, and I was taught, to be, keep it in the rooms, right? However, I've always disclosed it whenever I needed that. I felt somebody could use it. Also, in my position, it's challenging because you never wanted to bring out these type of sensitive issues of my past, so that thinking that people would think that I was using it for benefit of politics. With that said, I think that you may get a sense that I am clean and sober, by the grace of God, not mine, only because I turned it over and I continue to turn it over on a daily basis, going on with putting a bunch of days together, 17 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, my actual sobriety day is September 11th, 2006. And again, because I have been able to turn it over on a day-to-day basis, I know that I could do it. I cannot do it by myself, and I've gained a lot of days behind me. So it gives me great honor, great pleasure to share that openly, because sometimes you want to, but you feel that in the position that I'm in, you cannot. I was born in Puerto Rico to an alcoholic dad. Unfortunately, he passed on sclerosis of the liver when I was 9 years old. And my mother brought me to New York for a better life. And I had swore that I would never drink the way my father did. I swore, never. And I found myself in the trenches of the Challenges neighborhood in Brooklyn. And long story short, became a young man that just didn't have focus, didn't know any better. Like many of our young men nowadays, no different. Brooklyn, Sunset Park, where I grew up at, was no different than Reading. I see it, and that's why I love the city. That's why a lot of people, don't know the love that I have, and really why I decided to get involved in politics. I was involved in politics in New York back in the 90s when I met my wife, who is my savior, other than God, because she saw something in me that I didn't see. I met my wife and moved my story forward. I met my wife when I was 25 and she was 19 in college. And I was a high school dropout. Not a lot of people know that also. And Mayor said it already, was a high school dropout. And I met my wife and she, we dated. She's like, man, Eddie, you have two things going against you right now. And, my family's not going to be happy with. One is that you're older than me, even though it's not much of a difference, 6 years, but 25-year-old, 19-year-old, you look funny then, right? But she goes, so you have that going against you, the fact that, you're a little older than me, and then that you don't have an education. So we need to fix that. I can't do anything about your age difference, right? But we could do something about your education. And this is a 19-year-old talking to me. This is a 19-year-old talking to a 25-year-old. So long story short, I decided to go back to an adult program, and it was at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, where they had a GED program and get some college, with the intentions of getting a degree. Now, I got my GED, I got some college credits. Unfortunately, I didn't complete my education and get a degree. Because I started, finding good employment at this point, because I had, now I'm a little bit more serious about life. And short thereafter, I got married, and I became a Virgin Town police officer. Now during this time, man, you know, and I share about my sobriety, it always started with a drink for me. You know, there was other substances, but it always started with a drink. You know, I grew up a kid of the 80s and 90s in New York City in the night scene. That tells you all. You know, that tells you all. You know, you thought that you needed a special substance to get you going through the night. Which, by the way, you know, I have to share this with you. I was out last night. Right? I got home at 2 a.m.
I've seen the pictures.
You saw that, right? I came out. I went to a gathering that was happening, and again, you know, I don't bash nobody. To each his own. Some people have challenges, some don't. Some get it sooner than later. But I'm there, the only one that's having a cup of soda, and nobody knew that. and I got home at 2 o'clock in the morning, and still got up at 7.
That's
I would have never been able to do that.
That's right.
So you know, it was good to remember that. So long story short, I you know, I always started with a drink, and you know, that was what I started finding cute names for my addiction. I'm a productive alcoholic. I'm a productive family man. You know, and finding jobs that were very good. And then you know, once I became a cop, I unfortunately didn't finish my career because again, the drinking. And I'll get that right off the bat. But I don't want to get into the whole story. But long story short, I continued to find employments that before they caught up with my drinking and my other substances, I would quit. And so I was always ahead of the game until I got tired. You know, again, by this time I'm married, I have kids, and I have a set of twins. And you know what? I said I wasn't going to share this, but I didn't want this to become a room share, right? But it's part of my story. The reason why I became sober was because of my children. I used to come home every day after work. At this point, I was working with Health and Hospital Corporation, doing health insurance investigations, and for the city of New York City. And every day, like I said, you know, I wanted to be a father figure, right? But I had problems that I didn't know I had with my drinking addiction, and I used to come home every day after I would finish work and bring my kids a little candy or fruit. My kids love fruits, and you know, they weren't about sweet, but or a little toy. But I always bring my beer, my liquor, until one day that I get home, and there's when I get emotional. I get home, and my twins were 5 years old, and Tyler tells me, "Hey, Dad, what do you bring me today?" And he looked. I said, "Shoot, I forgot to bring him something." I said, "Papi, I forgot today. I'm sorry, I'll go back out." He goes, "What's that?" I had a bag. And he goes, "Oh, beer." My son, 5 years old, knew I had a problem, and I did it. Long story short, like a week later was when I decided to give it over, and I went to a detox, and that was September 11th, 2006, and by the grace of God, you know.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So, you know, so long story short, I ended up in Reading because when I first started going to my sobriety, they always kept telling me about people, places, and things. And by this time, man, you know, it wasn't just an occasional drink that I was having. I needed a shot in the morning in order to function, because now I was shaking. And I knew that I didn't want to do that anymore. And after about a year sobriety, I told my wife we need to move on. And we checked at different places in the vicinity, such as Virginia and Jersey. And I had a sister live here and ended up in Reading. So I had promised I wasn't going to give my story, but I did. But I only share that because, you know, who would have known? Who would have known that, you know, I was going to become mayor of a major city. You know, the city of Reading is the 4th largest city in the Commonwealth.
That's right.
And the Commonwealth, Pennsylvania, is the 5th largest state in the United States. So I'm the mayor of the 4th largest city of the 5th largest state in the States.
And the
Man,
first,
that's powerful.
and the first Hispanic, right? Amen. Amen.
First Latino, but I was passionate, you know. I've always, even though with my addiction, I never wanted to do harm. I never wanted to, you know, I wanted to not be the father of my. I didn't want to be who my father was. I wanted to be the father that I didn't have, you know, and at least that much kept me a little sane, you know, a little sane because you know, I've always done it for my children. You know, I'm big. Everyone who knows me knows that I'm big on family. You know?
So there's three things that stuck out when you were speaking, and we were born in the same city. We were born in Brooklyn, both in Brooklyn. Well, you were born in Brooklyn,
raised in
Brooklyn. I was born in Brooklyn. I am so blessed to have had a conversation with you prior to this, and it takes me back to when we first spoke in your office, when I took pictures and we had that big discussion when my book launched.
Yeah.
And you told me a
about
story.
my sobriety then.
No, you shared it with me.
But no, I said before.
No, I did not know. And you shared it with me. And you know, that's for you to share, not me to share with anybody. And I'm honored and I respect you so much for allowing yourself to be vulnerable today in front of the audience that we have here on the podcast, because it's very important to empower other people when people see your stature, right, of who you are in politics here in the city of Reading, and to allow yourself to be vulnerable and share your story that you too have encountered these problems, right? We all have a loved one, or we ourselves are the ones that are struggling with addiction, but to come on out and share that with this population that you serve for is huge and empowering to people who are struggling to even know how, not Eddie, but we're all human beings, right? And we are no more powerful than anybody in this world. God is the only man that can control everything in life, and we have no control over anything. So I totally appreciate that. And when you talked about what your motivation to get sober was your children, that's kind of my story as well with my youngest daughter. My youngest daughter told me I had a problem, and I'm like, no, you crazy. I never even hugged my daughter until she was 13. And I remember getting sober and hugging her for the first time. I shared this with you, and she tensed up because it was an unfamiliar thing in her life. And I told her, as of today, we're starting to hug around here. And every time I hugged her for that first month, it was like clenching. And it's so sad, but today it's like so loving, and when she hugs me, it's like you can feel the love, and that's really takes time, right? Because we've hurt our children so much, and I made that promise too to my oldest son when he was born in the hospital. I was holding this little baby, and I said, I will never hurt you like my father hurt me. And I did the total opposite of my promise to all my children. And it wasn't until I came into recovery that I was able to rekindle all those relationships with my children.
Yeah. And I'm going to interrupt you real quick because you just reminded me that, and I have seen this in the beginning of my sobriety, and I've forgotten a little bit that, you know, I said, you know, I don't have a problem, man. All I do is drink a little, you know. I just drink, and if I go out to a club, I put other substances in my body to keep me going, right? I don't hit my wife, I don't hit my children, I don't hurt nobody. Little did I know that I was hurting them mentally, you know, emotionally. So, yeah.
So I totally appreciate you coming on the show. I know you got something to share.
I just thank you, because what you're doing for a guy is what Lee's talking about, but you're doing it right here with me today, right? I am blessed to be in recovery. I'm blessed to be sitting at this table, and for a long time I felt unworthy of a lot of things in life because of the mistakes that I would make. You know, the person that I thought that I was, and just today alone, I wasn't gonna come. I thought that I still struggle to feel like to feel like I'm worth it, you know, with this disease works with me in a different way. And to sit down to say that Josh is sitting at the table with the mayor of the city he grew up in is really big for me. So I know it has to be big for everybody involved, for you to bless us with your story. So I thank you so much for not just what you do for the city, but what you're doing for a young man like me today. And that's just being, real and allowing us to know that just because, you're up there with that title that, that you're us, it really does a lot. And I really do thank you for being here today. And I'm glad you're here.
Well, I for one am very happy you're here, and that's why I sent you that text. So thank you for coming.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. And it's funny when you say that it's humbling, right? I'm going to share a real quick story. I don't think I even shared in the rooms, right? When I first moved to Reading, I used to just have a feeling that I had to go to meetings out in Brooklyn, right? So I would go every week to hit a meeting because I didn't, I felt uncomfortable. It was early in my sobriety. I only had about a year when I moved here. And I went to a meeting, which I'm not going to mention, but, it was a meeting that I wasn't comfortable. I parked, and I saw a bunch of white guys with beers and motorcycle jackets, and I was like, oh shit, man, I'm seeing Puerto Ricans, man. I think I seen one brother, and I picked up the phone. Luckily, man, I knew how to do that. I picked up the phone, and I called my sponsor. I says, dude, man, I'm in this meeting, man, but I don't think I could make it in. He's like, why? He's like, I don't feel comfortable. It's just a bunch of people that, it's not like the same typical people that I go to meeting with in Brooklyn. And he goes, what's wrong? And I said, a lot of white people, a lot of motorcycles. He goes, Eddie, you know who you're calling? And I was like, what? He goes, a white dude with a beard.
Oh my God.
So sometimes we my point is that sometimes we put excuses, right? We put excuses, and man, that's the ones that we have to watch out. So it made me cry to say that you showed up. You showed up today because you gave yourself another chance because this is a commitment. There's a commitment to our community, and you wasn't feeling it today, and for whatever reason, man, you did. So I'm honored to hear that, man.
And another thing that we always talk about here on the podcast is, having that heavy arm to call somebody, reach out for help, and you going through those feelings today, believing that this is not the place for you today because you're gonna be sitting at the table with the mayor, myself. And I always bring people here of a high stature, right? But getting through that and building the strength, no matter what the motivation was to get you here, and you got here, and now you realize I couldn't have missed this for the world. That's what it's about right there. It's building that strength and continuing to build that strength on day in, day out, day in, day out. You'll get to those 17 years, and you'll help so many people. And that's the big picture. That's what we want to do, is continue to help. So I know I'm trying to be very mindful of the time that you have here with us today. So I just want to ask you if you have any encouraging words for our viewing population who are still sick and suffering, who still have a loved one that is battling with the disease of addiction, what they can do besides coming here to Berks Rise Center for information when we shoot our podcast or when we have our Recovery Speaker Series. I want to be able to encourage the Hispanic population. I'm an advocate for the Hispanic population. I know you are as well. What can you say to our Hispanic population that the services are here? All they need to do is reach out and get the help that they so rightfully deserve.
Yeah, well, first I want to thank you once again, brother, for giving me the opportunity to share today and to, let's say, a little bit of my story that maybe to somebody it becomes a surprise. To others, maybe just the way that I speak sometimes, or things that we say, you know, in a daily conversation that we know. Wait a minute. So, you know, if there's any word that I could say or I could give is that give yourself a chance. Don't give up. You know, if you tried it once and it didn't work, don't give up and keep trying because you know, there's a beautiful world out here, and sometimes we don't appreciate it because we're so caught up in our addictions. The fact that you can make anything of yourself, and again, I don't want to use myself as an example. I'd rather use you as an example. You know, I'm just as honored to be here in your presence as I am as he used to share about being in mine. You know, I would have never thought that I would become here, right? But at the same time, I never thought that I would have a productive life, you know, because I honestly felt that I wasn't going to make it past 50 years old, because that's when my father died when I was 9 years old. He was young. So, you know, give yourself a chance, man. You know, there's a lot of programs, a lot of help. Nowadays, it's a lot more accessible, and it's not as embarrassing as one used to think. In fact, it's funny. I have to share this, right? I have to, you know, all these, you know, it's been a while. It's been a while since I talk openly, right? In New York City, I used to get off the train, and from the train to my house was 3 blocks, and in between the 3-block walk, there was a meeting, which later on I found out that it was an AA, but a dual sobriety meeting, and they used to hang out outside, so I knew, I had heard about AA, and I heard about meetings, but I would see these guys outside smoking, and I would cross the street, because I would think that they were going to start preaching to me. I swear, I would avoid them in every possible way, because I didn't want to hear it. So, you know, back then it was, you know, a secret. Now we're talking here freely. So it gives me great honor that we can do that and encourage others in all these type of media outlets. But man, give yourself a chance, man. You're worthy. You're worthy. You know, do it for yourselves, but then also keep your family, your loved ones in mind. They see, you know, like I shared a few minutes ago, sometimes we think because we're not physically harming another individual, we're not hurting them and we're not destroying them. We are, you know, it starts with us, right?
That's facts.
Starts with us, but then we also, you know, have to think about those that we're hurting. And, you know, whatever your reason is, you know, give yourself that chance, whether it's for your children, whether it's to keep a job, whether it's for your family, but give yourself a chance, because you're going to eventually find out that there was a lot more than that.
That's right.
You know, it starts with one reason, but there's a lot more. So, you know, give yourself a chance. You know, there's a lot of programs, there's a lot of people out here that is willing to share. And, you know, I make myself available to anybody that wants. You know, this is the first time that I ever came out publicly, again, because I never wanted to feel that I was trying to get sympathy, you know, because of my endeavors and wanting to serve my community. You know, wanting to serve my community in a capacity that I didn't want people to think that I was trying to get sympathy for my past challenges. No, but you know, I'm willing, ready, and able to help another person if you feel that I could chat. You know, my job as mayor is pure. It has, you know, no ill intentions of empowerment or social status. It's about, you know, wanting to make a difference, and you know, we all make differences in different ways. I chose to be a public servant. You know, you're doing your thing, brother, and in so many different ways. So it's about, you know, giving back, right? And we give back in many different ways. So if you find that you can talk to me, I'm in City Hall. My doors are always open. You know, you can reach me on my social media. Let's say my story encourages you, or you feel that you want to know a little bit more. As far as work is concerned, I'm committed. You know, this is not a joke for me, man. This is, you know, it is a commitment that I'm in it. And but you know, again, please, if there's anything I can say, is give yourself a chance.
I wanted to say Yvonne said something. My eyes are really bad, so I was just gonna. Yvonne Stroman. She's commented, yes. She said something here this morning. morning.
Sick. Great morning, gentlemen. Listening to you share parts of your journey is inspiring. I truly honor and respect the vulnerability you share. As people of color, we are told to be quiet. Your voice is courageous. Whether you realize it or not, you will save someone's life because you spoke your truth. Thank you. Remember, to whom much is given, much is required. Speak your truth, and speak your truth will become someone else's truth.
Yvonne, thank you for tuning in.
Thank
As
you, Yvonne.
always, you're a great mentor of mine, and you know we are here together fighting the great fight. You call me a foot soldier, but you are also a foot soldier, and I admire you. And thank you for those encouraging words to our mayor this morning. Again, Mr. Mayor, I do not want to hold you up, and I know that your time is precious.
Yeah,
We're gonna,
with the wife.
Yeah.
And the Sunday.
but I do appreciate your time and coming here today. If you want to translate anything in Spanish to the Spanish viewing population real quick, that would be great.
Bueno, para mí es un honor, un privilegio estar aquí presente para poder hablar de que sí se puede ser algo que usted cree que no es posible. Y estamos hablando de vivir una vida afuera de alcoholismo o de la droga. Yo no hablo de esto normalmente en público porque a mí me habían dicho que teníamos que tener esto entre nosotros en los cuartos, pero si no hablamos de que se puede vivir una vida afuera del alcoholismo, si no hablamos y expresamos lo que la sobriedad hizo para uno, para mí, ¿cómo sabemos que se puede hacer?
Right.
So, si alguien está sufriendo hoy día porque se levantó, porque no supo vivir una vida fuera sea alguna alcoholismo o droga, créame que se puede. Por la gracia de Dios, día a día yo he podido tener 17 años que no tengo un trago de alcoholismo. So, para mí es un privilegio poder compartir esto públicamente, que nunca lo había hecho, pero no lo hago para simpatía. Lo digo porque quiero a la gente que se puede, que uno puede llegar al sitio si se pone. Y que, aunque habemos muchos profesionales que sufrimos y no solamente sufrimos nosotros, hacemos eso entre las casas, sufrir también. So, yo mencioné en inglés que a veces nosotros creemos porque no estamos dándole a los hijos, no le estamos dando a la esposa, que no le estamos afectando así, emocional y mentalmente. So, nuevamente mi gente, para mí es un privilegio decirle que sí puede ser una diferencia en su vida y hacer un cambio si lo pone de su parte. Pero tiene que empezar con usted. Y después con ayuda, como están viendo hoy día, que hay mucha ayuda en la comunidad. So, muchas bendiciones, los quiero mucho y espero que si en algo le puedo ayudar, no tenga miedo de comunicarse conmigo.
Thank you very much, Eddie. Again, my contact information is transformationslc14@gmail.com. My phone number is 484-772-7079. And you can also message me on Facebook Messenger, and I will contact you as soon as I can. If you need help right away, you could always go to the Reading Hospital, ask for a warm handoff program, and they will get you started on your recovery. You can always stop in here at the Berks Rise Center, get all the information that you need to start a pathway in recovery, get treatment, whatever the case may be. But we're here to serve you and help you. Again, you can always stop at Franklin's Shakes and Burgers on Penn Street and get yourself a Narcan kit with fentanyl testers as well. Just ask Franklin. You just say, oh, I see them on Facebook, and Lee encouraged me to come on over here. So he will be having those in his organization there starting this week. Josh can hand out his information.
No, I just want to add real quick that, just as far as my job is concerned, I want to remind everybody, City Hall is open to everyone. If you know of a situation, you have a problem, a situation within the city, we need to know about it. The city of Reading is open for everybody. We could you come in person. You could call the Citizen Service Center, or there's an application. It's called Reading iRequest that you can download and submit your complaints and concerns to the city, because we need to hear it. If we don't know it, if you don't say it, we don't know it.
That's
So please, as far as my capacity is concerned as mayor, I need you to build a better Reading, but we need to do it together. If I can't do it all, man.
That's right.
If I don't know about it, I can't do it. I cannot help you. So sorry.
That's okay.
Absolutely, that was deep.
Give your information, please.
Joshua Camacho, 484-926-8358. If you're into the email things, it's transformationsjosh.23@gmail.com. It's Macho Camacho on Facebook. Also, I have a lot of people on my Facebook, just because I do not speak Spanish. If there's anybody that you know of that is that just speaks Spanish, you can still contact me and I can get them in front of Lee, or in front of the person that they need to talk to. Just make sure that you know that this is it's a team thing, and at the end of the day, if you have anybody who only speaks Spanish, don't be afraid to hit me up on my Facebook, speaking to the people of mine, because I will get you in front of Lee, and we will get you the help that you need. I will also be in the city next week. We're walking around in the city, passing out these packs. So at the end of the day, I will post more information as I put it together.
Thank you, Josh. So we're gonna let Mr. Eddie Moran go. He's got somewhere to be, another commitment. And again, I thank you so much for stopping in this morning, my brother. Let me get that hug.
God bless.
Thank you so much.
I would say to my peeps, man.
Yeah.
Enjoy to wish you many more days.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. I totally appreciate it.
Thank you so much, hermano, man. I wasn't looking forward for this tears this morning. God bless you, brother.
God bless you. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
And
And stay safe, Eddie. I'm gonna finish up this and then I'm gonna contact you later, brother.
sounds like a plan.
Thank you.
Take
Thank
care.
you so
God
much.
bless. Take care. Have a happy Sunday.
It was so awesome to have our City of Reading Mayor Eddie Moran here today. We have been totally blessed by him allowing himself to be as vulnerable as he was today in sharing his story of sobriety. Sometimes our population here needs to see these stories in their face, because we all have different views of people in the city, right? People in power. And they think, oh, that guy knows everything, he's a perfect person, he doesn't understand me. But little do you know that some of these people in power have also walked the walk that we walk, right? And we can't sit here and judge people and think that they're higher than ourselves, because they too have had their struggles.
Right.
And it's that time, in this time of life right now, people are being more vulnerable with their stories, because they're finding out that people's stories are empowering. They're empowering to other people, you know what I mean? I myself am very transparent with my life. I have my struggles, I continue to have struggles, but I keep moving forward. Josh knows me well. Over the last year, we built a pretty good friendship. Just because I'm an advocate for the substance abuse disorder population doesn't mean that I don't have struggles. I just keep working. Work is important. Me advocating for the population that I am with is important to me. But I also do have a family, and a family I have to care for, support. Addiction is real, right? And I tell people this all the time. I'm very open about it. Just because I'm sober doesn't mean everybody around me is sober. I have to stay strong and continue to do the work that I do, so people can mirror what I do, right? It's real. Addiction's no joke. It's nothing to play with. There's still a lot of you guys out there that struggle with addiction, right? And are scared to pick up the phone. Week in, week out, we have this podcast, and I always talk about that heavy arm, picking up that phone and calling somebody, or just taking yourself to the Brooks Rise Center, which isn't far from you. All you got to do is walk in and ask for the services that they provide here. Ask for Yvonne. I forget the other girl's name. But just anybody that's in here will be able to help guide you in the direction that you want to go to find that better quality of life for yourself. Start that treatment that you need. Try and find and explore the pathway of recovery for you. Whether it be AA, NA, Smart Recovery, Celebrate Recovery, working out with someone else, another sober group. No matter what it is, we can help guide you there. Again, my number is 484-772-7079. My email is transformationslc14@gmail.com. And Josh probably has some encouraging words for today.
I do. Just everything that you're talking about is just, like I said, I still struggle, with some time under my belt because, like Lee said, that this isn't easy. It's a disease that we will fight for the rest of our lives, and once we get the toxins out of our body, that's when it becomes a little bit harder because now we're battling our mentals and we're battling the things that we used to do. So I woke up and I thought that I had the speech of a lifetime, and it didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go, because at the end of the day, people who love you will find a way to see through your bullshit, and that is just how it goes. I share I'm very open with sharing the fact that I didn't feel like I was going to give much to the show, because that's what being honest is about, right? I didn't want to come today and act like everything was great. No, it was the mayor, right? Like, to some that may be nothing, but to me, I could have never thought that I was worth sitting at the same table as that man, let alone having Lee, put me in a position to sit next to powerful people almost on a week-to-week basis. But even though he's still there and he's a mentor, I still struggle. But the difference is I don't give up nowadays. I may send him a text that sounds good, and then all of a sudden I get my life together because I continue to fight the good fight. And I share that stuff with you guys because it's not easy. You'll have days where you're like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know if this is going to work. But I promise, as long as you keep showing up, right? If you keep showing up, you keep putting your left in front of your right, and you keep moving forward. Don't go backwards. So if I wouldn't have came today, Josh would have then started going backwards. And that's what made me put my hoodie on. That's what made me grab my car keys, because I remember what it was to go backwards. I remember how it felt. I remember how I lived. I remember how I affected other people when I started to go backwards. For over a year, I've been going forward. And that's what recovery will give you. But you have to also, like Eddie said, and like Lee always says, is you have to put in the work. Like Eddie said, you can't do it on our own. So if you know something, you got to help him. And it's the same thing. You have to help yourself. You can have all these amazing people around you. Lee is a blessing to me as a mentor, for many different reasons. But he can't do any of this for me. I have to do it myself. He can put me in positions, but if I don't take control and take it and work through them. So I just want you guys to keep fighting. Give us that phone call, start the process. It does get easier. It's not always great. It's not always rainbows and sunshine. But I promise you that I feel so much better since I walked through my stuff today and I came, than today would have been a pretty bad day if I didn't come. And at the end of the day, that's just what we encourage you guys to do, is start the process, start the fight. And eventually, like, the one thing that I want the people on my Facebook to understand is that where we come from, them corners and them back blocks, nobody could have ever thought on my Facebook that I would be sitting at the table with the mayor. And then to hear his story, and for him to have blessed us with his story and let us know who he is, he's come from the same things that we've come from. You literally can be whatever you want as long as you put the work in to change your life.
Josh, you continue to amaze me. When you sent me that text today that you weren't going to be able to come in today because you had a sore throat, I was like, no, you come. We'll talk tomorrow. If you don't want to come, that's fine. But I already knew on Friday I was going to get that from you, just like I told you in the text. I know that you felt the way you did. I seen it when I told you he was going to be here. So you have to. I'm all about opportunities. I I can be in that hallway. Look at that hallway down there, right? I'm not gonna sit in that hallway and wait for that opportunity to happen. I'm just gonna keep walking forward towards the door that's closed until it opens, but be ready once that door opens for that opportunity, right? You have to get out of your thoughts and allow yourself to continue to move forward. Don't let your thoughts take over you, because that's what we did in our addiction, right? That's what we did. Our thoughts consumed us. We don't want to live that way anymore. We want to continue to move forward. Never stay stuck. Keep them. If the tires are spinning, you're still in the same spot. So you want to keep moving. Keep it moving. That's why I always say keep it moving. You're doing a great job. You're a great service to the community and the population that you serve. You know, and we're gonna continue this fight. You know, when I know that you're feeling down, I'll be there to pick you up. But like I always say, I can't pick you up if you're not willing to put the work in, and you continue to do the work. So you're doing fine. So don't be so hard on yourself. The mayor being here today, I still remember the first time I walked into the mayor. You know, him and I had a friendship before he was mayor. I already knew Eddie, but he always did stuff in the community. And I'm a community person, and you know, I like to do stuff as well. But over time, you're gonna realize that we're all humans, right? We all have blood. We all have a heart. We all have a heartbeat. Nobody's higher than anybody else. We're all aiming for the same thing, a better community. So just keep doing what you're doing, brother. Don't be so hard on yourself. I am so honored and blessed when I was standing outside waiting for Eddie to see your car roll up. I was like, he made it. He's good. And I knew you were going to be great on the show today. So just continue doing what you're doing, brother. Again, for people that are out there struggling, you're welcome. The people that are out there struggling and have these thoughts that Josh has as well, and feel that there's barriers in your way, the only barriers that you have are yourself. That's it. You have the strength within you to pick up your phone, dial a number, dial my number, 484-772-7079. If you're not ready to stop today, let me keep you alive by giving you some fentanyl testers, right? Test your drugs. I'll give you some literature on where there are services that can be provided to you for where you're at currently, right? And get you started on a pathway to recovery. When you're ready, you'll be ready. I can't tell you when you're ready. Only you can tell yourself when you're going to be ready. But I encourage you to keep looking for that pathway that's going to help you find that better quality of life for yourself. Anything you have to add?
Yeah, and just know that like I am living proof of understanding. So if you want to call me and all the people that just that do, I have a lot of people that reach out just for the conversation. Just know that I can relate. You know, I'm not too far ahead of anybody, and I'm going to be honest with you. You know, so but trust me that you know, giving a call to Lee or coming in and having a conversation and a cup of coffee with Yvonne. Like, you never know what that can do for you. Just sitting here right there, right? Like, hearing Lee speak, like, I'm empowered. Like, you know, at the end of the day, that's what great people will do for you. And that's why people, places, and things in a support group. And it's so important, you know, because if we're left to just us, we are going to probably self-destruct if we don't surround ourselves with individuals like this. That's why I am so big. Anybody who has called me, anybody that talks to me, they know I tell them, you gotta surround yourself with great people. You gotta put yourself around people who will be able to lift you up when you have these moments and you can't not pick up the phone. I know that my arm gets heavy, but Lee, just make sure that I pick it up. Yvonne, you are the most amazing person. Josh, you are so worthy of all the gifts recovery has to offer. I admire your walk. To thine own self be true. You have helped me today. I love you, bro, and I love you, Yvonne. And that's the type of stuff that keeps me going. And without me being, I guess, I'm not going to say I guess, without me being brave enough to open my mouth and tell the truth about where I am and the things that I still struggle with today, I don't get the encouraging words from my brothers and my sisters in recovery. You have to open up. My favorite saying is secrets keep you sick. And until you start the process of opening up and talking, unfortunately, you won't start the process of healing.
I'm going to give a plug into one of our local nonprofit organizations here in Reading, The Forge.
Yes.
They are an awesome organization, an organization that I meet with once a month, and they are doing these empowering men meetings once a month. I believe it's the third Wednesday of the month, and the next one will be on the 22nd. Any men out there that are looking for a support group, please do come out to Alvernia. I believe the address is 401 Penn Street, and that's where the monthly men's meeting is held. They have a great topic every time you go, and then they have breakout groups. And if you need more information on that, just look up Ebony McNeil on Facebook or Gregory Day. I totally encourage you guys that are looking for a men's group to come on out and join the Forge every third Wednesday at Alvernia on Penn Street, and join us for a good topic to talk about. Other men empowering men, great food. Sometimes you cry, sometimes you laugh, but it's always great discussion. So come on out and join the Forge.
They're also, be on the lookout for their podcast. Ebony is also putting together a podcast. So once we have the information, we will definitely share that to you guys to where you can go and watch the podcast. I know that he has plans to do like YouTube shorts and things like that. So once we get all that information, we'll definitely pass it along to you. But there are a lot of great people in the community of Reading trying to do a lot of great things to, continuously uplift not only the brothers but the sisters, not only the struggling addicts, but just people struggling in general. So we have a lot of great things going on in the community, and 2023 can be a really great year for Reading as long as we continue to help each other.
That's right. And, he did say there's a lot of great things happening in Reading. Transformations is a nonprofit organization that is not all about themselves. We're all about the meaning of community, and that's why I do plug in other people when I speak on this podcast. Council on Chemical Abuse, Berks Rise Center, TASK, all these other organizations that provide services. We're here to help and serve the community. That's what we're here for. There's not enough of us to help all of you. So the more that get sober and find treatment, you guys can help us become soldiers in the community and continue to provide services to the still sick and suffering, right? So this is not going to be a very long segment. Maybe it is. We've been here already for 51 minutes. So we're about to head on out for the week. Next week, the hope is that we will have Commissioner Mike Rivera on the show, and Josh will be here promptly at 10 a.m. So don't let your thoughts take you on a trip. Just always remember we're all human.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you guys for allowing me to be vulnerable. My apologies. That's who I am as a person. He's gonna tell me I don't need to, but that's just who I am. My apologies for getting in the way. But I had a very wise woman this morning told me that it's about consistency and showing up, and I needed to show up. So
Amen.
There it is.
Thank you, Tina. Everybody have a great week. Love you all.
God bless.
Thank you for the support. Bye-bye.